Happy April, everyone. Bryan Lebo here with your Las Vegas market update video. Well, the big news this month has to do with the Raiders finally coming to Las Vegas. Since it's been announced, I've had a ton of people ask me what impact I see the move having on our housing market. Now, today I'm going to dedicate a large portion of this video to address this question. But first, let's run down the current analytics and see what happened last month and find out where we're headed. Okay, first up is last month's sales. Last month, we sold 2,977 homes. This was a 13% increase over last March. A 13% increase is very strong. This illustrates that demand is exceptionally high. While March is always much stronger than February for sales, this year we jumped 44% over February. Suffice to say, the market is definitely heating up early. Now for everyone's favorite subject, median home prices. Last month, we finally broke through the ceiling to close at a median price of $240,000. Now, this is important for a big reason. This is the first month we've actually had real appreciation since last year. We reached $235,000 back in July of last year and then bounced back and forth. So this January, when the media reported monthly increase to $235,000, I laughed and then reported it back to you. Now, was it a lie? Not exactly, but all we did is recover to where we were last summer. Last year, all of the appreciation was made in May, June, and July. After July, prices went down and pretty much stayed there. So far, January, February, and now March of this year have seen an increase. Remember this part since I'm going back to it later. Now that we've discussed sales, which equates to demand, let's check in on the supply side of the equation. This is represented in our inventory. As you can see on the screen now, we ended March down yet again in inventory. If there's a positive spin to this, it's that our inventory was down in March of 2016, 15, 14, and 13. So it's not too abnormal for our inventory to go down. In fact, this is the smallest decrease I've seen for March, so something positive. Next, let's break down our inventory. On the screen now, you can see that only 4.3% of our market are now short sales, while only 2.6% are foreclosures. This leaves us with 93.1% as normal or, traditional sales. Like I've been saying for the past couple of years, expect traditional sales to continue to increase as we work through the foreclosures and home values slowly start to continue to appreciate. Now, while we're on the subject, let's briefly check in on the NODs or Notice of Defaults. This illustrates the amount of foreclosure activity coming down the pipeline. As always, the county is a month behind, so the most recent full month we have is for February. As you can see, we ended February at 414 filings. Pretty steady, but a pale comparison to the thousands that we once saw years ago. Again, I don't see any of this phantom inventory of foreclosures popping up anytime soon. Okay, now let's get back to football. With the Raiders moving here, what's that going to mean for our economy and housing market? From an economic standpoint, it's very debatable whether this helps or hurts our overall economy. However, the intangible benefits are huge. Having a professional team builds a sense of community and pride within the city. Having state-of-the-art facilities should also boost the status of UNLV football as well. But while the overall economics of the deal is debatable, let's focus on real estate. While the thought of a pro team sounds like a boom for the market, let's slow down for a second. Not everyone moving here for the Raiders are millionaires. Let's break this down into three parts. First is the administrative staff for the organization. Next are the actual players, and then finally it's the stadium staff. From an administrative standpoint, the Oakland Raiders list 163 people on their website. This starts at the top with Mark Davis, all the way down to the IT department and one HR director. While most of the administrative staff makes a fairly good salary, only a handful of employees are going to be buying million-dollar plus homes here. Then remember, many employees likely won't make the move here and could be replaced with Las Vegas natives. Like with any move, Many employees will simply rent for a year or two just to see how the move actually goes. So maybe 100 of the administrative staff employees will purchase homes. I mean, maybe. Now let's get sexy and talk about the players for a second. While we all think professional athletes are uber rich, it's not always the case. First, consider there's 53 players to a team. Add 10 to the practice squad, and you have about 60 or so. Practice squad players only make about $7,000 a week. With a work year of only 16 weeks at best, these players are not rich. Next, you have the NFL minimum, which is anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million a year, depending on tenure. But considering the average NFL career is only 3.3 years, there's not much money there after taxes, management, and agents. This is why 76% of players file bankruptcy within 3 years of retirement. Then you have the big dogs who are making millions. These guys have multiple homes and can do whatever, wherever. But what you miss is that many athletes simply rent homes where they play, since they never know when or where they'll be traded to next. So out of the 60 some odd players, maybe 20 will actually purchase homes in Las Vegas. So now we're at about 120 homes. While the stadium will be used for other events, almost all of the stadium staff are low-paying and part-time employees. With only 8 home games a season for the Raiders, that's minimal employment impact. So overall, we're looking at a company bringing in a little over 200 employees. Keep in mind that a busy Costco or Walmart employs almost 300 employees. So while the thought is promising, the overall impact on our housing market is beyond minimal. Zappos employs 1,500 people alone. To see an impact on housing, we would need to create job growth for an entire industry, like tech did for San Jose or oil did up in North Dakota. Now that we addressed that issue, let's go ahead and wrap up what we learned today. Sales increased dramatically, median home prices unexpectedly increased as well, our inventory has decreased yet again, but in a fairly normal fashion, and traditional sales continue to dominate. So what does all this mean? Well, right now, demand is very high while supply is low. Like I said last month, this typically means increased pricing. Perhaps that's why we saw such a large increase in median price last month. Going into the peak time of year, I think we're definitely going to see some continued price growth this month as well. With inventory so low, this summer could get really interesting. Now, if you're looking to buy, now's the time to start, since it's likely going to get tougher and more expensive out there quickly. If you're looking to sell, now's also a great time to test the market, since you have 4 great months ahead of us. Feel free to start a little bit high and then get realistic in May. Well, that's it for April, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all next month.